Hello, math friends. Hey, today we're taking a look at lesson 3.3. And so in your math notebook, make sure that you write lesson 3.3 at the top. And we are looking at solving multi-step equations today. So write that down also, right? Solving multi-step equations. Because sometimes there's more than one step to solving an equation. So there are specific rules to follow in these situations. Now remember when the order of operations, when you're simplifying expressions, and the order of operations is PEMDAS, right? You do stuff that's in parentheses first, then you do stuff with exponents, and then you do any multiplication or division from left to right, and then you do any addition or subtraction from left to right. Well, when we're solving equations, because we're using inverse operations, we're going to use the inverse of the order of operations also. So how about that? This is fun. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to do any subtraction or addition first, then any division or multiplication, and then if there are exponents or parentheses after that. So when we're solving equations using multi-steps, we're going to be using SADMAP, and instead of PEMDAS. Now, there are some other things we do need to consider. First of all, before we employ SADMAP, there are some things we have to do first, okay? First things first. If there's stuff going on either side of the equation, we have to make sure we simplify both sides first. And the very first thing we have to do would be to distribute. Distribution happens first, and you can see that we have distribution in this one, where, see, we have this 5 outside the parentheses of 3x minus 12. We're going to have to multiply negative 5 times positive 3x, and then we'd have to multiply negative 5 times negative 12. So rewritten, this would be 9x, because that would stay the same, minus 15x plus 60 equals 30, right? So we had to distribute first. We distributed the negative 5 to the positive 3x and negative 5 to the negative 12. Then after we've distributed, we're going to need to combine any like terms. So search through what you've got here and find any like terms. Oh, here I see I've got a 9x and a negative 15x. When we combine those together, that becomes negative 6x plus 60 equals 30. Okay, so we've combined the like terms, and now we are good to go to use the inverse operations to isolate the variable. Remember, our goal is always to find the variable. So the first thing we're going to do, after we've distributed and after we've combined like terms, then we're going to undo any addition or subtraction, right? That's where SADMAP comes in. We're going to undo any addition or subtraction. And we can see here that there is because we're trying to get x by itself, there's a 60 that's being added. And so we would subtract 60. And please remember, we have to do one thing on each side of the equal sign. So we're going to subtract 60 from that side, subtract 60 from that side as well. Now, of course, these two cancel each other out. And that leaves us with negative 6x equaling 30. Subtract 60 is negative 30. Okay, so we undid the addition by subtracting using the inverse operation. And then after that, we're going to undo the multiplication or division of the coefficient. So we can see here, what the heck just happened there? We can see here we have negative 6 times x equals negative 30. So we have to undo that multiplication of negative 6. So we divide both sides by negative 6, because when we do that, negative 6 divided by negative 6 is 1. 1 times x is just x. And negative 30 divided by negative 6, negative divided by negative is positive. 30 divided by 6 is 5. So x equals 5. All right, so we undid the multiplication or division. Right, that was the next step in SADMEP. There aren't any exponents, there aren't any parentheses, so we don't have to worry about it. We came to the end. Okay? Now, of course, we would go back to make sure that our answer was correct. We would go back and put that x equals 5. We would put that 5 in for x in every one of those places in the original equation to make sure that our answer was correct. Here are some more examples. 1/3 times x plus 6 equals -8. All right, now remember, we are going to use SADMEP. So first of all, is there any distribution? There's no distribution. Okay, so no like terms to combine either. So now we go straight on into undoing any addition or subtraction. And here we can see there is a 6 being added, so we would subtract 6. We're going to subtract 6, and we're going to do that to both sides of our equal sign. Now, +6, -6 cancel each other out, and that leaves us with 1/3 x equals, now what is -8 minus 6? That's -14. If you're wondering why, just remember, subtraction is adding the opposite. Now, 1/3 x times, 1/3 times x equals -14. All right? We have to divide by 1/3. But remember what division is. It's multiplying by the reciprocal when a fraction is involved. So I can multiply this side by 3/1. And I can multiply this side by 3/1. Wait a minute, that's a whole number. So 3/1 is just, 3/1 is just 3. So I don't need to multiply by 3/1. I just need to multiply by 3. Okay? Because that's what 3/1 is. It's 3. So over here, 1/3 and 3/1 cancel each other out. And x equals -14 times 3 is -42. And to make sure that that answer would be correct, of course, we would take that 42 and put it back in for x and make sure that our answer is correct. 1/3 times -42 plus 6 should equal -8. And this one, 7x minus 3x minus 8 equals 24. There's no distribution, but we do need to combine like terms. See, we have 7x and -3x. Those are like terms that must be combined. Combine like terms. So 7x combined with -3x is 4x minus 8 equals 24. SADMEP says we're going to undo the subtraction of 8. 4x minus 8, because remember, our goal is to get x by itself. So I'm going to add 8 to both sides. Now that I'm doing something on both sides, I'm going to draw my line through the equal sign. By subtracting 8 or adding 8 to both sides, that one cancels out, and I am left with just 4x over here. 24 plus 8 is 32. 4 times x equals 32. Now I'm going to undo the multiplication by dividing by 4. When I do that, those 4's cancel each other out, and I have just x equals 32 divided by 4 is 8. And if I want to make sure that that answer is correct, of course, I would put that 8 back in for x in the original equation and make sure that when I simplify that side, it equals 24 on that side. Now in this one, you can see that we have some distribution that needs to happen. See the 3 outside the x plus 4? That means we have to distribute. So the 5x is just going to stay 5x. 3, positive 3 times positive x is 3x. Positive 3 times positive 4 is positive 12, equals 28. Combine like terms. We have like terms here, 5x and 3x. Positive 5, positive 3, that equals 8. 8x plus 12 equals 28. Now I can start to, now that I've distributed and combined like terms, I can start my SADMEP process. I'm going to undo the adding of 12 by subtracting 12, because remember, I'm trying to find out how much x is. I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides of the equal sign. Those two cancel each other out, leaving me with just 8x on this side, and 28 minus 12 is 16. And now I undo the multiplication of 8 times x. I divide by 8. Those 8's cancel each other out, and I am left with x equaling 16 divided by 8, which is 2. X equals 2. Now, if I want to make sure that that answer is correct, of course, I will put it back into the original equation where x is, and make sure that this side simplifies to equaling 28 on that side. All right, last couple. I apologize, this is taking a little longer than 10 minutes, but it is necessary to make sure that you get as many examples as possible. 4x minus 3 times x minus 2 equals 21. I see that distribution has to happen. So I'm going to distribute negative 3 times x, so that's negative 3x. I'm going to bring this 4x down out here, and then negative 3 times negative 2. Negative times negative is positive, so that's going to be positive 6. And then equals 21. Going to combine my like terms. I have 4x and negative 3x. When I combine 4 and negative 3, I get 1x, or just x, plus 6 equals 21. Now I can go through my order of operations backwards for solving equations. I'm going to undo the addition of 6, so I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. Make sure I draw my line down through my equal sign. Those two cancel each other out, leaving me with just x over here. And 21 minus 6 is 15. X equals 15. If you want to make sure your answer is correct, take 15 and put it back in for x every place that you see it in the original equation, and make sure that that equals 21. Then, this last one here, 66 equals negative 6/5 times x minus 3. Ooh, this one's a little bit more difficult, but no worries. I see we need to distribute. So we're going to distribute negative 6/5 times x. So that would be negative 6/5 x. Negative 6/5 times negative 3 is going to be positive. Now what is 6/5 times 3? I'm going to go over here and work it out. I'm going to change my 3 into a fraction by putting a 1 under it and multiply straight across. 6 times 3 is 18, and 5 times 1 is 5. 18/5. Equals 66. Now, if I want to get rid of my fraction part, I'm going to show you something really cool here. Hold on a second. Now, here's a little something that I learned. If you have a common denominator in your equation and you don't like having the fractions there, you can multiply everything in that equation by that common denominator. So I can multiply everything in here by 5, and I'll show you what happens when I do that. I'm going to multiply everything here by 5. Now, 66 times 5 is 330. Negative 6/5 x times 5, well, it basically just gets rid of the denominator, so it becomes negative 6x. And 18/5 times 5 just becomes 18. That denominator just disappears. It's amazing. So now I have just whole numbers to work with, or integers, And now I can start to solve using the backwards order of operations. Draw my line down through the equal sign there. I'm going to subtract 18, going to undo the adding of 18. Those cancel each other out. And 330 minus 18 is 312 equals negative 6x. Now I undo the multiplication of negative 6 times x. So I'm going to divide by that negative 6. Now these will cancel each other out, and x will equal 312 divided by negative 6. Well, that's a positive divided by negative. That's a negative. 52. So x equals negative 52. And if you want to make sure that's right, of course you know to take that negative 52, put it back in for x in the original equation, and see that you get 66 when you simplify the other side. All right, folks, I apologize for the length of the lesson. It was necessary to make sure we covered all our bases. Here is today's practice that goes with this lesson. Lesson 3.3.0 practice. Okay. Now you can find this on the same slide that you found the video, and you can open it up there, or you can pause it and copy the problems down here. Have a great day. Don't forget to be awesome. See you next time.